The moment humanity's polite mode ended, the Council witnessed everything. Part 1. The polite newcomers for 200 years. Humans had been the nicest species in the galaxy. Everyone said so. They smiled at everything. They apologized for things that were not their fault. They brought gifts to every meeting and said thank you even when other species were rude to them. The Galactic Council had 47 member species. Some were old and powerful. Some were young and weak. And then there were the humans. They had joined the Council 2 centuries ago, and in all that time, they had never raised their voice. Not once. Ambassador Kang Jie walked through the great halls of the Council station. She was a small woman with kind eyes and gray hair tied back in a simple knot. She wore the blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps, and she carried a small tablet in her hands. Other ambassadors passed her in the corridor. Some nodded. Most did not. She was used to it. Ambassador Kang called a deep voice behind her. She turned and saw the tall figure of the Morven delegate. His skin was purple, and his eyes were yellow. He looked down at her with something like pity. I hear your colony ship is late arriving at its destination. Perhaps humans are not suited for deep space travel after all. Jia smiled politely. Thank you for your concern. I am sure it is just a small delay. The Morven laughed and walked away. Jia kept smiling until he was gone. Then her smile faded. She looked at her tablet. The screen showed one word. Missing. The colony ship Morning Star had disappeared 3 days ago. 4,000 people were on board. Families, teachers, doctors, children. So many children. Jia put the tablet away and continued walking. She had a council session to attend. Far away, in the darkness between stars, Captain Park Do-hwan stood on the bridge of the U.S. Patience. He was a tall man with broad shoulders and a face that seemed designed for smiling. He was not smiling now. Show me again, he said. Lieutenant Yoon Hannah pressed a button on her console. The main screen flickered. An image appeared. It showed the Morning Star, humanity's newest colony ship. Beautiful, peaceful, defenseless. And surrounding it were 200 warships of the Vrel Dominion. They captured it 6 hours ago, Hannah said. Her voice was calm, but her hands were shaking slightly. No distress call. They jammed communications before anyone could send a message. Survivors? Do-hwan asked. We think everyone is still alive. The Vrel want hostages, not corpses. Do-hwan nodded slowly. The Vrel were a warlike species. They had been demanding more territory for years. The Council always said no. But the Council never did anything when the Vrel pushed anyway. They were too afraid. Has Earth responded? Do-hwan asked. Hannah turned to look at him. Yes, sir. 5 minutes ago. She handed him a small device. Encrypted. For your eyes only. Do-hwan took the device. He pressed his thumb to the scanner. The screen lit up with 2 words. Contingency CVE. He stared at those words for a long time. Then he closed his eyes. Sir? Hannah said. What does it mean? Do-hwan opened his eyes. Something had changed in them. The warmth was still there, but underneath it, Hannah saw something she had never seen before. Something old. Something cold. It means, Do-hwan said quietly, that we asked nicely. And they said no. He turned to face the main screen. The image of the captured colony ship burned in his vision. Contact Admiral Shin. Tell her to wake up the First Fleet. Hannah's eyes went wide. Sir, the First Fleet hasn't been activated in 200 years, Do-hwan finished. I know. In the council chamber, Ambassador Kang Jie took her seat among the other delegates. The room was vast and circular, with platforms rising in tiers around a central speaking area. Hundreds of alien species sat in their designated places, talking quietly among themselves. The session began. For 2 hours, they discussed trade routes and mining rights and diplomatic procedures. GA listened patiently. She always listened patiently. Then the main doors opened, and a Vrel commander walked in. He was massive. His skin was dark red, like dried blood. His teeth were sharp. He wore armor covered in symbols that GA knew represented kills in battle. "I am Commander Draxus," he announced. His voice echoed through the chamber. "I speak for the Vrel Dominion." The council fell silent. Draxus smiled. It was not a kind smile. "We have taken a human colony ship," he said. 4,000 of their people are now our property. If the council does not grant our territorial demands within 72 hours, we will begin executing them. Starting with the children. GA felt her heart stop. Then start again. Faster. She stood. Her voice was steady. "Commander Draxus, those are civilian vessels. Families. This violates every treaty in—" "Silence, human," Draxus said. He looked at her the way someone might look at an insect. "Your species has been given too much voice in this council. You are weak. You have never fought a war. You do not belong among true civilizations." He turned to address the full chamber. "The humans will not act. They cannot. They are prey animals pretending to be predators." Several delegates laughed. GA remained standing. Her face showed nothing, but inside her mind, a single thought repeated over and over. "You have no idea what you have done." The moment humanity's polite mode ended, the council witnessed Everything Part 2. The colony ship Morning Star was never built for war. She was built for hope. Her halls were painted in soft colors. Her windows were wide, so families could watch the stars pass by. Her gardens grew real flowers, and her kitchen served food that reminded people of home. Now, Vrel soldiers walked those halls. Their boots left marks on the clean floors. Their weapons hung at their sides. And 4,000 humans sat in the main cargo hold, waiting to learn if they would live or die. Dr. Beek Sujin moved through the rows of frightened people. She was the ship's chief medical officer. She had gray streaks in her black hair and gentle hands that had delivered babies and healed wounds for 30 years. Now those hands were checking foreheads for fever and wrapping bandages around injuries. "Doctor," whispered a voice. Sujin looked down. A little girl, maybe 8 years old, sat huddled against her mother. The mother was unconscious. Sujin had already treated her for a head wound. The Vrel guards had not been gentle when they forced everyone into the cargo hold. Double quotes. "Yes, little one?" Sujin asked. "Are we going to die?" Sujin knelt down. She took the girl's small hand in her own. "What is your name?" "Yuna." "Yuna. That is a beautiful name." Sujin smiled. "No, Yuna, we are not going to die. Our people are coming. How do you know?" Sujin looked at the child's frightened eyes. How could she explain? How could she tell this little girl that somewhere out there, humans were already planning, already moving, already preparing to do things that they had hoped they would never have to do again? "Because," Sujin said softly, "we always come for each other. Always." 3 decks above, in the maintenance tunnels, Corporal Nam Taiho was counting ammunition. He was young, 26 years old. He had joined the colonial security forces because he wanted to protect people. He had trained for years, but he had never expected to use that training. The galaxy was peaceful. Humans were peaceful. That was what everyone said. 12 security officers were hidden in these tunnels. 12 against 200 enemy soldiers. The odds were not good. "Report," Taiho whispered into his communicator. One by one, his team checked in. Everyone was alive. Everyone was in position. They had sealed the tunnel entrances. The Vrel did not know they were here. "What do we do, Corporal?" asked Private Lee. She was even younger than Taiho. Her hands were shaking. Taiho wanted to tell her the truth. He wanted to say that he was scared too, that he did not know if help was coming, that they might all die in these dark tunnels. Instead, we wait. We watch. And when the time comes, we move. His communicator buzzed. A message, encrypted, from the UE's patients. 2 words. Hold 47 hours. Taiho read the message 3 times. Then he smiled. Change of plans, he said to his team. Help is coming. We just have to survive for 47 hours. Private Lee looked at him. 47 hours? Corporal, they could find us in 47 minutes. Then we make sure they don't find us. Back in the council chamber, Ambassador Kang Jie stood before the assembled delegates. Her face was pale but calm. Her voice did not shake. I formally request the council's assistance, she said. 4,000 of our civilians are being held hostage by the Vrel Dominion. This is a violation of galactic law. We asked that the council authorize a rescue mission. The chamber was silent, then the Morven delegate spoke. With respect, Ambassador, the Vrel have 200 warships in that sector. Any rescue attempt would mean war. And what is the alternative? GA asked. We allow them to murder our children? Another delegate, a creature with 6 arms and silver skin, leaned forward. Perhaps you can negotiate. The Vrel want territory. Perhaps if you offered them something, we have nothing to offer, GA said. And even if we did, we do not negotiate with those who threaten our children. Commander Draxus laughed from his platform. Listen to her. So fierce. So brave. He bared his teeth. But you have no fleet, little human. You have no weapons. What will you do? Ask us nicely to release them. Several delegates laughed again. GA did not answer. She looked around the chamber. She looked at species she had worked with for years. Species she had helped. Species she had trusted. I call for a vote, she said. Will the council authorize action against the Vrel Dominion? The voting began. One by one, the delegates made their choices. Abstain. Abstain. Against. Abstain. Against. The numbers rolled across the screen. GA watched them climb. When it was over, the result was clear. 31 species had abstained. 12 had voted against intervention. Only 3 had voted in favor. Humanity's request was denied. GA stood very still. She looked at the chamber. She looked at all those faces that had refused to help. Then she bowed. A small, polite bow. Thank you for your consideration, she said. Her voice was perfectly calm. The human delegation accepts the council's decision. She walked toward the exit. Her footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. Commander Draxus called after her. Where are you going, human? Running away to cry? GA stopped. She turned. She looked at him. Something in her eyes made Draxus stop laughing. No, Commander, she said. I am going to make a phone call. She left the chamber. The doors closed behind her. In the corridor, alone, GA removed her translation earpiece. She took out a small communicator. She pressed a single button. A voice answered. Ambassador? They said no, GA said. Her voice was still calm. But underneath it, something was changing. Something was waking up. Proceed with contingency 7. There was a pause on the other end. Understood, the voice said. God help them. GA put the communicator away. She stood in the empty corridor for a long moment. Then, for the first time in 200 years, the human diplomatic corps began preparing for war. The moment humanity's polite mode ended, the council witnessed everything. Part 3. The mask falls. 37 hours passed. The council was in routine session. Trade agreements. Border disputes. The usual boring business of running a galaxy. Most delegates were not paying attention. Some were sleeping with their eyes open. Others were checking personal messages. Then every screen in the chamber turned on at once. The delegates looked up in confusion. This was not scheduled. This was not supposed to happen. The main display showed a live feed from deep space, stars, darkness, and in the center, the captured colony ship Morning Star, still surrounded by 200 Vrel warships. "What is this?" demanded the Marvin delegate. "Who authorized this broadcast?" No one answered. Ambassador Kang Jie sat in her usual seat. Her hands were folded in her lap. Her face showed nothing, but her eyes were fixed on the screen. Commander Draxus leaned forward in his seat. "Is this some kind of trick, human? Are you trying to make us watch while we—" He stopped. On the screen, something was happening. The stars were moving. No, not the stars. Something was coming out of faster-than-light travel. Ships. Many ships. The tactical display updated. 50 human ships. No, 100. No, 200. The number kept climbing. 300. 400. 500. The chamber fell completely silent. When the count finally stopped, 847 human warships filled the screen. They were not like the small transport vessels the Council had seen before. These were massive. These were covered in weapons. These were built for one purpose only. Admiral Shin Yunji's voice echoed through the council chamber. She was an old woman with white hair and a face like carved stone. She commanded the First Fleet. She had commanded it for 40 years. And in all that time, she had never been allowed to use it. Until now. "Vrel Dominion vessels," she said. Her voice was calm, almost pleasant. "You have 45 seconds to release the colony ship Morning Star and surrender." "This is not a negotiation." Commander Draxus laughed. The sound was harsh and loud in the silent chamber. "You think we fear you? Your species has never fought a war in 200 years. You don't have the stomach for 38 seconds, said another voice. Lieutenant Yun-ha. She was reading from a tactical display. Her tone was the same tone she used when ordering coffee. On the screen, the Vrel fleet began moving into attack formation. 200 warships pointed their weapons at the human fleet. 30 seconds, Hana said. Draxus was still laughing. This is a bluff. Humans cannot fight. Everyone knows this. You will turn and run, and then 20 seconds. The Vrel commander aboard the lead ship gave an order. All 200 vessels opened fire at once. The space between the fleets filled with weapons fire. Plasma bolts, missiles, energy beams. Everything the Vrel had. The delegates watched in shock. No fleet could survive that kind of attack. The humans would be destroyed in seconds. The weapons hit the human. Shields. Nothing happened. The attack splashed against invisible barriers like rain against glass. The human ships did not move. They did not shake. They did not even slow down. 15 seconds, Hana said. Draxus stopped laughing. 10 seconds. Admiral Shin spoke again. I was hoping you would choose to surrender. I really was. Her voice was sad now, tired. But you made your choice. 5 seconds. On the screen, the human fleet moved. Not defensively, not carefully. They moved like predators who have finally stopped pretending to be prey. Time's up. 47 Vrel warships exploded at the same moment. Not damaged, not disabled. Simply gone. Turned to fire and metal and nothing. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates screamed. Some ran for the exits. Others simply stared at the screen, unable to believe what they were seeing. The human fleet continued firing. Their weapons were nothing like what the council had ever seen. Beams of light that cut through Vrel shields like they did not exist. Missiles that tracked and destroyed targets with impossible accuracy. Ships that move faster than anything that size should be able to move in 3 minutes. Half the Vrel fleet was gone. Commander Draxus stood up from his seat. His red face had turned pale. This is impossible. Humans are weak. Humans are peaceful. This cannot be happening. Ambassador Kang Jie finally spoke. She did not raise her voice. She did not need to. We are peaceful, she said. We chose to be peaceful. There is a difference. On the screen, Admiral Shin gave new orders. Alpha Wing, secure the colony ship. Beta Wing, disable their flagship. I want Draxus taken alive, if possible. She paused. Gamma Wing, clean up the rest. The Vrel kept fighting. They had no choice. They could not run. They could not surrender. All they could do was fire their weapons at ships that seemed immune to everything they had. It did not matter. The battle lasted 11 minutes. When it was over, 173 Vrel warships had been destroyed. The remaining 27 had surrendered. Not a single human ship had been seriously damaged. The council chamber was silent. Completely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. On the screen, human soldiers boarded the Morning Star. They moved with speed and precision that spoke of centuries of training. They knew exactly what they were doing. They had done it before. Many times. Captain Park Do-won's voice came through the speakers. Colony ship secured. All hostages are safe. Beginning evacuation now. Admiral Shin Yunji nodded. Good work, Captain. She turned to face the camera. She was looking directly at the council chamber, at all those species who had refused to help, who had laughed, who had called humanity weak. This broadcast was transmitted to every species in the galaxy, she said, so there would be no misunderstanding, no confusion. Her eyes were cold. Now you know what we are, what we have always been. We simply chose not to show you. She leaned forward. Remember this the next time you think about harming our people. The screen went dark. Commander Draxus collapsed into his seat. He was shaking. Ambassador Kang Jie stood up. She smoothed her uniform. She looked around the chamber at all those frightened faces. If anyone has questions, she said politely, I will be available in the human embassy. Please feel free to schedule an appointment. She walked out of the chamber. No one tried to stop her. The moment humanity's polite mode ended, the council witnessed everything. Part 4. What humanity was hiding. 3 days after the battle, the council demanded answers. Ambassador Kang Jie stood in the center of the great chamber. Every seat was filled. Every species in the galaxy was watching. Some were scared. Some were angry. All of them wanted to know the truth. How? Demanded the Marvin delegate. His purple skin was darker than usual. Fear did that to his species. How did you hide this from us for 200 years? We shared intelligence. We monitored your planet. We saw nothing. Gio nodded. That is because we did not want you to see. But why? Asked another delegate. Why pretend to be weak? Jie looked at the faces around her. She had practiced this moment in her mind 1,000 times. She had hoped it would never come. But now that it was here, she found that the words came easily. To understand why we hid our true nature, she said, you must first understand what that nature is. Cultural attached Cho Minho will explain. She stepped aside. A young man with glasses and a serious face took her place. He carried a small device that projected images into the air above the chamber. I am Cho Minho, he said. I study human history. What I am about to show you is difficult to watch, but it is necessary. He pressed a button. Images filled the air. War, death, fire, cities burning, bodies in the streets, weapons that could destroy entire nations with a single blast, children crying, parents screaming, soldiers killing and being killed. "This is our history," Minho said. His voice was steady, but his hands were not. "For thousands of years, humans killed each other. We fought over land, over resources, over ideas, over nothing at all. The images changed. More wars, different uniforms, same blood. We invented weapons that could end all life on our planet. And we came very close to using them. Twice." Minho pointed to an image of a mushroom cloud. "This single weapon killed 100,000 people in less than 1 second. Gasps filled the chamber. We did not stop there. We built thousands more. We pointed them at each other. For 50 years, we lived with the knowledge that at any moment, everything could end." The images faded. Minho took off his glasses and cleaned them. His hands were shaking now. "We survived, barely. And when we finally reached the stars, we made a decision. We would never be that species again. We would be kind, patient, diplomatic. We would show the galaxy the people we wanted to be, not the people we had been." He stepped back. Ambassador Kang Jie returned to the center. "That is why we hid our military," she said. "We were ashamed of it. Ashamed of what it represented. Every human child learns our history. They learn about the wars, the genocide, the weapons. They learn so they will never repeat our mistakes." The Moravan delegate leaned forward. "But you kept the weapons. You kept the ships. You trained soldiers in secret. Why, if you were so ashamed?" Jihee's expression did not change. "Because we are not fools. We hoped the galaxy would be different. We hoped that kindness would be enough. But we knew that it might not be. So we prepared. Just in case." "Just in case," repeated another delegate. "Just in case someone like the Vrel appeared." Yes, silence fell over the chamber. Then a small delegate, a creature with blue skin and 4 eyes, raised a hand. "What else are you hiding?" GA considered the question. "Our diplomatic corps includes more combat veterans than most species have soldiers. Our scientists design weapons as easily as they design medicine. Our colony ships can convert to warships in less than 5 minutes. Our children play games about war before they can read." She paused. "We are, at our core, a species of predators who learn to be kind. But the predator is still there. We simply keep it on a leash." More silence died at the back of the chamber, aboard the captured Morning Star. Dr. Beek Sujin was watching the broadcast on a small screen. Around her, families were being treated for injuries. Children were being reunited with parents. The nightmare was over. A human soldier walked past. He was young, with a kind face. He was carrying a sleeping child in his arms, taking her to her mother. He moved gently, carefully, like the child was made of glass dot. Then he turned a corner and saw 3 Vrel prisoners trying to escape. What happened next took less than 2 seconds. Sujin watched the young soldier hand the sleeping child to a medic, draw his weapon, and fire 3 times. The Vrel fell. They did not get up. The soldier holstered his weapon, took the child back, and continued walking. Sujin stared. The soldier had not even changed expression. He had gone from tender to lethal and back again in the space of a heartbeat. This, she realized, was what humans really were. Not one thing or the other. Both. Always both. In the council chamber, the Moravan delegate asked one final question. If you wanted peace so badly, why not destroy your weapons? Why not disband your fleets? Why keep them at all? Ambassador Kang Jie looked at him. For the first time, something like sadness crossed her face. Because we know ourselves too well, she said. We know what we become when we are pushed too far. We know what we are capable of when someone threatens our families. And we know that the universe is not kind. She spread her hands. We kept our weapons because we hoped we would never need them. But we knew, deep in our hearts, that someday someone would not accept our outstretched hand. Someone would see kindness as weakness. Someone would threaten our children. Her voice hardened. And when that happened, we needed to be ready to do what we do best. "And what is that?" asked the Morven. G.A. smiled. It was not a warm smile. "Whatever is necessary." The moment humanity's polite mode ended, the council witnessed everything. Part 5. The new understanding. 1 week after the battle, the galaxy was a different place. The Vrel Dominion had surrendered. Their once proud fleet of 200 warships was now reduced to 23 damaged vessels. Their leaders had fled to the far edges of known space. No one would give them shelter. No one would even speak to them. Commander Draxus was in a human prison cell. He would stay there for a very long time. Across the galaxy, intelligence agencies were working overtime. Every species was reviewing their files on humanity. And everywhere they looked, they found things they had missed. Small things. Obvious things. Things that should have told them the truth long ago. Human handshakes. An ancient tradition from Earth. 2 people grasping right hands. A cultural greeting that everyone found charming. Except now they learned the real origin. Humans shook hands to prove they were not holding weapons. Every handshake was a reminder of a time when meeting a stranger meant possible death. Human children's games. Running, hiding, chasing, pretending to fight. Innocent play, everyone had thought. Now they understood. Human children were training. From the moment they could walk, they were learning to hunt, to evade, to survive. Human holidays. Days of celebration throughout their year. Each one seemed happy enough. But the files showed the truth. Most human holidays commemorated battles, wars, victories soaked in blood. Even their love songs talked about hearts being captured and people being conquered. Humans were not peaceful creatures who had stumbled into space. They were warriors who had learned to smile. Captain Park Do-wan walked through the corridors of the Morning Star. The ship was safe now. The families were being transferred to other vessels. Soon they would reach their new home. Life would continue. He found Dr. Baek Soo-jin sitting alone in the empty medical bay. She was staring at the wall. Her hands were folded in her lap. "Doctor?" he said gently. "Are you all right?" She looked up at him. Her eyes were tired. "I have been treating wounded people for 30 years. I have saved thousands of lives. I thought I understood what humans were." Do-wan sat down beside her. "And now? I watched your soldiers kill people. They did it without hesitation, without anger. They killed, and then they helped children, and then they killed again." She shook her head. "I am trying to understand how we can be both things. Healers and killers. Kind and cruel." Do-wan was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "When I was young, my grandmother told me a story. She said that inside every human heart, there are 2 wolves. One is kind. One is cruel. They are always fighting. Which one wins?" Soo-jin asked. "The one we choose to feed." Do-wan looked at his hands. Strong hands. Hands that could heal. Hands that could hurt. We contain both. The capacity for great kindness and great cruelty. Every day, every moment, we choose which one to be. That choice is what makes us human." Soo-jin nodded slowly. "And when someone threatens our children, then we stop choosing." Do-wan's voice was soft. "Then both wolves hunt together." In the council chamber, Ambassador Kang Jie delivered humanity's final statement on the incident. The room was packed. Every species was present. No one wanted to miss this. "We came to the stars hoping to find something better than ourselves," she began. "For 200 years, we tried to be the species we wished we were. Gentle, patient, kind, and we will continue to try. We will continue to offer friendship. We will continue to seek peace." She paused. Her eyes moved across the chamber. But let this moment serve as a reminder to every civilization in this galaxy. Our kindness is a choice. Our patience is a gift. Our mercy is not weakness. It is strength held in check. Her voice grew stronger. We do not want war. We have seen too much of it. We have buried too many of our children in its name. We know the cost better than anyone. That is why we choose peace. That is why we offer our hand in friendship. She held up her hand, open, empty. But if you take our people, if you harm our families, if you mistake our outstretched hand for submission. She lowered her hand. Her eyes were cold now, ancient, full of memories that spanned thousands of years, of blood and fire. You will learn why humans smile when they shake hands. The chamber was silent. It is because we are genuinely happy we did not have to kill you. She let the words hang in the air. Then her expression softened. The kind ambassador returned. We hope we never have to show you this side of ourselves again. We truly do. But we will not apologize for what we are. We will not pretend to be something less. And we will not hesitate if you threaten our people. She bowed. A small, polite bow. Thank you for your attention. This session is concluded. Later that night, Lieutenant Yunhana stood on the bridge of the UE's Patience. The stars stretched out before her, endless and cold. Captain Park Do-hwan walked up beside her. Think they will test us again? She asked. Do-hwan considered the question. Probably. There is always someone who does not believe the stories. Someone who thinks they are different, stronger, smarter. And when they do, then we will be polite. We will offer them every chance to walk away. We will hope they take it. Hannah looked at him. And if they do not? Do-hwan turned to face her. For just a moment, something flickered in his gentle eyes. Something old. Something that remembered every war humanity had ever fought. Every life lost. Every lesson learned in blood. Then we stopped being polite. Hannah nodded. She looked back at the stars. Somewhere out there, species were still laughing at humans. Still thinking they were soft. Still believing that kindness meant weakness. They would learn. They always did. The end.